everybody, this is Esme, and today's video, oh my goodness, you guys have been wanting it for so long. It is what you need for your first horse. So I thought for the New Year's we'd kick off my beginners series again because so many of you guys have requested it. I thought it'd be quite a fun few videos to do. So anyway, before today's video starts, I'd like to say a huge thank you to eHorses who have very kindly sponsored today's video. So if you guys are looking for a horse, I'd recommend checking out their website. I will leave a link in the description below. So if I go on my phone, I am not looking for a horse, just thought I'd put it out there, but I have so much fun going on their website nonetheless. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I love looking for horses. Even when I'm not looking for one, it's just so fun seeing all the different cute horses that are out there. So if I go onto the eHorses website and click on modify search, you can decide how old the horse you want to look for is going to be, what their height is. There's even a price range bar as well. You can also look through how far away the horses are from you. You can look at all the different breeds that they have on offer. You can even categorize by what horse you want to look for by their color as well. Should we look at some greys? I don't think so. I think having 3 greys is enough for me. That is a lot of cleaning. But if we have a little look down, ooh, we should look at some dun ponies. I think dun horses always look so cute. So there's lots of different ones here. Oh my gosh, that one looks so adorable. So anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below what your dream horse is like and if you can find it on eHorses. So anyway, with getting your first horse, there are a lot of different things that you need to buy and prepare for and get ready. So that's what I thought I would talk through with today's video. So before you actually decide to get your first horse, there are lots of different options that you can go through, such as learning to ride at a riding school, which is really good because you get to ride lots of different types of horses. You can loan a horse, which gets you used to having to care for one. I might do a video at a later date where I talk a little bit more about when are you ready for your first horse. But the first thing you probably need if you are looking for your first horse is where are you going to keep it? Are you going to keep it at a livery yard, stables or barn? In the UK, also for my international viewers, we call livery is like board, I think in America. So there are lots of different types of livery options you can have. You can have full livery where your horses are mucked out and fed. It really depends from stables to stables. You can have like half board or half livery, and then you can do everything yourself as well. Obviously there's lots of different price points too. There's also options on if you want to keep your horse in a stable or if you want them turned out in a field or paddock. So there is a lot to think about. That could also depend on where you live in the world, what your climate is like. So anyway, at first I thought I would talk about all the things that you can buy before you get your first horse, because obviously some things are a little bit more difficult than others. Some things you'll need to buy afterwards when you've got the horse, because at the moment you don't know what sort of horse you're going to get, what size they're going to be, what size rugs they need. So anyway, let's go and talk about the things that you need first. Alright, so I thought I would start by talking about everything that you need as a rider. So if you're going to be riding for a long time in the future, then I would definitely recommend getting yourself your own helmet, because when I started learning in a riding school, I used to actually borrow the helmets from there. So I'd recommend getting one yourself, because you might already have one already, but to make sure that it fits you properly and correctly, and also that it surpasses lots of different safety standards, which is really important. So this is my Charles Owen JS1 Pro that I actually designed myself, and I'm really excited to say I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway with eHorses over on my Instagram page at @this_Esme. All of the information will be on the giveaway post if you'd like to check it out. So anyway, first you definitely need a helmet yourself. Let's see what else you need. Surprise, surprise! Next, I'd recommend getting yourself a pair of riding boots. Make sure that they're proper riding ones as well, so they're nice and safe when you have your foot in the stirrup. If you're starting off with lessons, I'd recommend having shorter boots or jumper boots, just because I find they're a little bit easier, especially if you're practicing with getting your heels down and you're building up that sort of muscle memory. I didn't actually get my first pair of tall boots until my feet stopped growing, but anyway, these are mine. Would definitely recommend. Also, when you're at the yard, I'd recommend having some sort of yard boots to wear, so you have different boots when you're around the horses to when you're riding, just because I like to keep my riding ones nice. Sometimes I wear wellies, but I'd recommend getting ones with like steel toe caps, so if a horse does accidentally step on your foot, it won't hurt your toes. Or I like to wear leather boots quite a lot. I've got these really nice yard ones on at the moment, especially in the winter. They keep my feet very warm. Next we have gloves. This isn't essential, but it's something that I love. Some people I feel like love them or they're not the biggest fan. I wear gloves all year round, especially as I have really sensitive skin and I ride almost every single day. So I find if I don't wear them, my hands get kind of ripped to shreds. So I love wearing them also in the winter because they keep my hands nice and toasty too. Next, this one is a little bit more down to personal preference again, and that is a body protector. Obviously, if you want to do cross country or eventing, then you have to wear one for that. But if you are maybe starting off in a riding school and you're still having lessons, then I'd maybe recommend getting one just because you're going to be a little bit new to riding and things. But anyway, there are sort of the main things that you need for the rider. Obviously, you need riding clothes. Definitely recommend getting yourself a good pair of jodhpurs or breeches or riding leggings, because riding in normal clothes isn't too fun. It's not that comfortable. So anyway, let's go on to the things that you can buy for the horse that you can get before you actually buy your first horse. So here I have some lead ropes. This is a great example of something that you can buy before you're even looking to buy your first horse, because they're standard, they come in one size. You can use this on any horse or pony. I always recommend having a spare one just in case. I once took Mickey to Pony Club camp. For some reason he ended up snapping his lead rope. We had to borrow one off a friend, so that would have been a good day to have a spare one. So I'd recommend having two. Next, we have a grooming kit, which is especially important if you decide to get a grey pony or horse, because you will be spending the next years of your life just cleaning. You need to take this everywhere your horse goes, because Casper had a phase of every time I would load him into the van, he would just poo and get his legs absolutely covered, and it was so embarrassing. I once forgot to bring my grooming kit with me, and I was riding around a horse with pooey legs, which wasn't the best. So yeah, hopefully I will be doing a video soon on how to groom a horse. I'll be talking about all the different grooming brushes, what they're used for. So yeah, be sure to check that out soon. But yeah, grooming kits are very important. Next we have a wash bucket. Again, if you have a grey horse, you're going to be using this a lot, just a little warning. So we have some mane and tail detangler, we have some shampoo, and most importantly, something that you can never have too much of, sponges. Yep, here's a sponge, here's another sponge, here's another sponge. So yes, sponges are very important. You can use them for tack cleaning, you can use them for washing your horse, you can use them just for like generally just cleaning different things, because with horses, things do not stay clean for long. Everything gets so dirty, so sponges are great. Buckets, you can have small ones, you can have big ones. It really depends what you use them for. So this is one of my spare ones for feeding, because unfortunately with buckets, horses do like to destroy them. Also, at some yards and barns, you don't need a bucket because they have like a little feeding bit on their stable, if that makes sense. Also, some stables have automatic water drinkers, so you won't need a water bucket. But I feel like having buckets in general is just a good idea, because you can use them for tack cleaning, lots of different things as well. So they're just really useful to have really in general. Yard tools. So here I have a fork. My horses are on shaving, so I find this easier. And then I also have a sweeping brush as well. I have a really big one because it gets the job done a lot quicker. This is also good for sweeping the yard with as well. Some yards do vary. Sometimes they do have tools that you can use or borrow, but I'd recommend getting your own, just because these are going to be your best friends. You're going to be using them every single day, all day. And sometimes the other ones that the yard might provide might not be as good or to your personal preference. Like, I love these sort of shaped ones, but yeah, yard tools, they're going to be a big part of your life. A wheelbarrow. So again, some yards and stables do provide these that you can borrow. However, I'd recommend getting one yourself, just because these are so useful. You can use it for poo picking the field, mucking out your stable. If they're clean, you can also use them to lift up heavy things or transport them, such as shavings, bags of feed, hay. You can also use it for moving your tack around as well, especially if your horse's tack room is really far away from the tacking up area. Again, if you're moving things to maybe your van, lorry or trailer, when you're putting the tack in there, it's just really generally useful for just moving things around. Hay nets. So having a few of these is quite useful. Obviously some stables and barns do vary. Sometimes they have a hay manger that you can put the hay in instead, but I just think they're generally useful, especially maybe if you're bathing your horse and they're a little bit fidgety, you can give them some hay in a hay net just to keep them occupied. These are also great if you're going somewhere, you can bring the hay with you. I prefer the ones with these smaller holes just because all of my boys are very greedy. They will demolish a hay net in minutes if it has the bigger holes. Also, hay nets again love to be destroyed. There's a bit of a bigger hole here that I'll need to get some string and tie up again. So yeah, having a few spares and just having a few in general is never a bad idea. Alright, so you've now bought your horse and you know what size they are, what things that they're going to fit into. So once you've bought your horse and you've got it home, you're going to have to do a lot of things very quickly. Some horses do include tack, some horses don't. It really depends which one you buy and who you buy it from. So anyway, now I'm going to be talking about all the things that you can buy now you've got the horse. Head collars or halters if you're not from the UK. So I would recommend actually getting 2. Again, these are something that if they snap or break, you're going to be in trouble if you don't have a spare one. So for my horses, I always like to have a sort of fabric cottony kind of one like this as like an everyday one. So this is Mickey's, it's in size pony, and this is Casper's leather head collar. This is what I use for when I travel him in the van or just for like special occasions when I want him to look a little bit more fancy. Again, lead ropes as well, but that's already, you can buy those beforehand. But yeah, head collars is definitely something you need when you get a new horse. Sometimes, obviously, when you pick your new horse up, they can be wearing a head collar and usually they will let you keep that head collar. But if you're like me, I always like to get them a brand new one and put it on when I go and collect them because, I don't know, it's just very exciting. Next we have tack. Again, this is something that it really depends on the horse that you buy and where they're bought from. For example, Mickey did come with tack when Casper and Joey didn't. So when I got Casper and Joey, I had to that day go out and buy their bridle and get their saddle, or with Joey I had to try and fit Casper's saddle to Joey. But anyway, hopefully soon I'll be making a video all about tack and all about like how to put a bridle together, how to tack up a horse, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, yeah, if you're going to ride your horse, you'll probably need to have a saddle. If you've got a saddle, you'll probably need a bridle as well. So something really important when thinking about getting a bridle is the horse that you have bought, what did its old owner use? I would recommend getting the same style noseband. For example, this is just a Cavison one. There are lots of different types of bridles as well, so I'll do a video on that too. Also, what bit did your horse have in its last home? You need to make sure the bit is the correct size for their mouth, so make sure you ask their old owner what size bit they had and also what style of bits. So this is a double jointed loose ring snaffle, so it's a very sort of weaker one which is nice and soft, especially for Joey as he is a young horse. So this is just what I use on him at the moment, and this is exactly the same that he had in his old home. Next we have rugs, and they come in lots of different shapes, styles and sizes. Again, this really depends on where you are in the world, what your climate's like. At the moment in England it is the winter, it's very cold, so all of my horses are out in the field in turnout rugs, just like this one. So you can get different fills of turnout rugs too, which is usually in grams over here in the UK. So it just tells you how much filling there is in. I'd also recommend getting a turnout rug which is called a New Zealand, which is pretty much just a waterproof sheet, especially if you're in England because we have a lot of rain. It's also great at keeping your horses clean as well, especially if they love to roll in mud. Next here we have a cooler or a waffle rug. These are great especially if you've bathed your horse or maybe after a ride and they're a bit sweaty, just to put this on so they don't get too cold. It's also good for drying them off as well. And then next we have a fly rug. Obviously I haven't used this for a little while. I think it needs to go in the washing machine. This is absolutely disgusting. These are the type of rugs that your horses will love to destroy. Maybe it's just mine, but as soon as I put them out in the field, especially Mickey, any sort of stone, twig, I don't know what in the field, they will decide to roll on it and get holes. And sometimes you'll go out into the field, check your horse and half of their rug will just be hanging off them, or there'll be a massive rip in it. So yeah, these are going to be quite an expensive item to have and to replace. You can get them repaired, which is great, which is usually what I do, which is better for the environment. Usually there's just like a little hole sometimes that needs repairing, especially at the end of the winter. I like to get all of my rugs cleaned, washed and repaired, which is great. But yeah, also if you live in Australia, it's very common that they have these sort of white cotton sheets that they use because it's so hot over there. It helps reflect the sun off and reflect the heat off so your horse doesn't get too hot. Again, it protects against flies. So yeah, some climates your horse won't need a rug and it'll be fine, life will be great. But unfortunately here, you're gonna need a few in lots of different styles. Next we have here is my slightly dirty and grubby first aid kit. It's always good to have a first aid kit, not just for the horse, but also for yourself. You never know, sometimes around the yard I've like cut my finger or something. Especially you need to know what to do if your horse does hurt themselves. It's also good to have a vet that you know and have their number, so if there is an emergency you can call them. If you'd like to see what's in my horsey first aid kit, then let me know in the comments below. I might make a video on that too. But yeah, first aid kits are never bad to have, especially this big old hefty one. Boots. Again, you'll need to know what size horse you're getting before you get these. As Joey, I thought I was going to be getting a full size horse, but because he's a little bit finer, he's actually in size cob for his boots, I believe. So here I have some brushing boots. These are great for just general schooling, riding around. It means that when your horse is like sort of trotting along, that kind of thing, if they brush their legs together, they're not going to hurt themselves. Joey being a young horse, he does this quite a lot. So as you can see, we've got a good bit of wear here. Also in hotter climates, or if it's in the summer, I'd recommend definitely getting boots with a lot of air holes and breathability, because you don't want your horse's legs overheating. Lighter boots are also better in the summer because obviously they're a lighter colour. The heat's going to be reflect off rather than absorbed with darker boots. Here, because I do jump my horses, I have some tendon boots. As you can see, these are a little bit more protective. That's proper hard. Again, we have quite a few scuffs here, as you can see, so they've been put to good use. But yeah, tendon boots are great if you're jumping. Brushing boots I recommend if you're doing more things like flat work. Saddle pads. I can't believe I haven't talked about saddle pads yet. I feel like this is the longest I've gone through a video without talking about them. But anyway, yes, you can probably buy these before you decide what horse you're getting. But if you're really not sure what size, for example, some horses need a pony sized pad, some need a horse sized pad, some need a cob sized pad. I'm quite lucky, Mickey just needed a pony, and then Casper actually has size full. And then Joey has size full as well. So Joey and Casper do share saddle pads, which is great because it means that I have quite a few different colours in my collection. You do not need as many saddle pads as I have, by the way, or matchy sets, but you know what, they make me happy and they're quite fun. So yeah, I'd also recommend if you decide to do competing to get a white saddle pad that you just use for when you do competing or showing, because then it will hopefully stay clean. I just find white saddle pads look really professional when you're out in the show ring. And lastly, some sort of transport. So this is actually my old trailer. Again, this isn't something that's really essential. Some barns or yards have something that you can use to transport your horse that you can borrow. There are also different services that you can hire out, maybe like horse vans or horse boxes. But I'd recommend just like at least knowing somewhere where you can hire one out, because for example, there might be an occasion where you have to take your horse off property. For example, Mickey and Bruno, we've both had to take to the vets to have minor surgeries, both to do with their teeth actually. So yeah, this isn't something you really need, but it's nice to have if you can afford one. So to be able to maybe take them out to shows, take them out to lessons and ride off property, maybe hire out arenas, or maybe just to go somewhere different and shake up your hacking routine and go for a nice trail ride. So it's definitely something nice to have to be able to go out and have some fun, but you don't necessarily really need one. Obviously, your horse will need to eat, so they'll need some food. I'm actually going to do a whole separate video on feeding, but I definitely recommend asking the horse's old owner what they're currently eating, because you don't want to quickly change their diet. That's really bad for their gut. If you're going to change their diet, you need to trickle feed it, so you gradually change it over. Again, if you quickly change it over to something new, for example, if they were on a really low sugar diet and you put them on something high sugar, it could actually really change their temperament as well. And with horses, if they're moving yards or barns, then that's going to be a big change in itself. So you want to try and keep everything they had at their old home pretty similar to what they have at their new home as well. So apart from feed, horses will also need some sort of forage, if that's grass out in the field or hay and haylage. Some barns again do provide the hay and haylage depending on what package board you decide to go for. Some don't, some you have to buy it in yourself, again with shavings too, so it really depends where you keep your horse. And lastly, probably the most important things you'll need when getting a horse is money, time, and patience, because it takes a lot to look after a horse. And this video might seem a little bit daunting because I've talked about lots of different stuff in one video. I've sort of done a quick whistle stop tour. But if you are thinking about getting a horse, I'd recommend talking to your instructor and the people around you that are horsey. Also, I'd recommend if you're in the UK, checking out the Pony Club, riding clubs, and even the British Horse Society. They have a lot of information about horse care and can really help support you, because it is a big step but a really fun journey as well. So anyway guys, I thought I would do a few more videos in my beginner series because again, I've done this quite quickly. So if you're excited to see some beginner series videos, let me know which ones you would like to see in the comments below. Anyway guys, I'd like to say a huge thank you to eHorses again for sponsoring today's video. Also make sure you check out my giveaway over on my Instagram for my helmet giveaway, which is very exciting. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If there's anything that I might have left out or what you would recommend when getting a new horse, let me know in the comments below as well. Thanks again for watching, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already, as I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!